eGundo.com.
Rob, here we are, construction heaven. We're building something new. Everybody wants to know, what is the next phase for Rob Croxall and El Segundo Brewing Company? What are we doing here?
So this is our new venture. This is the El Segundo Brewing Company, the Slice and Pint. This is our first venture into restaurants. So it's a local pizza place.
That's awesome. You know, knowing you, Rob, you're really big into family. Family's really important
Absolutely.
to you. You're heavily involved in sports, softball, right? You give back to the community. I have to imagine that a lot of you is going to show in this restaurant.
Absolutely.
Is that the case?
It's going to be the same focus as the brewery relative to community, you know, giving the community a good focal point, but more than that, since the brewery is a brewery, it's much more tailored towards the adults. This is more geared at being a family-friendly kind of place, places where families can come, where teams can come and have their parties after games or whatever the case is, but something that is, you know, accessible to the entire family, where they're not going to have to leave their kids alone to go to the brewery.
So I know it's hard with construction, but how far out are we, and then what can you share about the food?
Well, right now, we just have the plumbing in the ground that just passed. We're going to start seeing walls go up pretty fast. So optimistically, we're probably looking 3 months out, something like that. On the food side, our approach is going to be sort of in line with what we do with the beer. It's going to be quality focused, quality first. It's going to be all handmade, relatively limited pizza and pizza type stuff menu. Doughs tossed right in front of you. Locally sourced greens from farmers that we have relationships with the idea of giving a good quality product, selling our beer across the counter, but also being a good value for the community too.
I keep on hearing community every time we talk. Community has been important to you. You've been here
My
entire
life, 47 years.
Wow. And I would have to imagine that, you know, is there some inspiration, something that would be unique about the end result of what this restaurant will become when attached to the life that you've lived in a small town? You know, your El Segundo Brewing Company is doing fantastic. You have a great beer. We see you in competitions. I know personally that you're a big fan of detail. How is it that you take, will you be able to take what you've done with El Segundo Brewing Company, apply that to this new restaurant, and how will that impact the residents of El Segundo?
Sure.
You know, the final product.
It's going to be the same approach. I mean, on the beer side, you know, we make beer that I want to drink. Quality focused, but it's beer that I want to drink. If it doesn't feel good to me, then we're not going to do it. It's going to be the same approach here. We want it to be a comfortable place and just an asset for the community, another point of pride for people to come. And, you know, again, it's the communal kind of tables, people sitting together, people talking, you know, friendly, that kind of vibe.
So when most people think about pizza and beer, two words together, peer, that's the new word. Maybe you should name it peer, the peer company, is that things can get out of hand, but I'm hearing from you, this is more about family.
It is.
Bigger tables.
Absolutely about family. Of course, it's a business. The idea is more outlets for us to sell our beer, but again, I don't want to do something that's just going to take and not be something that's of value to the community. So I do think, you know, bringing another family-friendly place, keep the family together, going out to dinner is a big deal, and that's kind of where we're coming from.
I would imagine, you know, as an entrepreneur, the growth, you're probably going to create quite a few job opportunities.
Right.
Do you have any idea of what you're anticipating?
We're thinking somewhere in the 20s to 30s probably of new jobs created in El Segundo, which basically mirrors what we have at the brewery. So again, it's a good thing for the local community.
You know, tough question to answer, but do you think that is this something that you see an opportunity for, you know, kids coming out of high school, whatnot, to have a first job?
Oh, I've already talked to my daughter about it. She's almost 15, and she'll be the guinea pig on that one. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the kind of, you know, stepping stone job for people, especially if they want to get into, you know, service type industries, stepping stone kind of thing. So
that's great. So the way I understand it is we're sitting in what would be potentially dining area. We'll have a bar, we'll have an entryway with a sitting area, and then over here we're going to have more of like a community area. Is that correct?
Right.
Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. We have the main dining room where you're going to have the open kitchen, so you can actually see your food being prepared. The bar is going to be right there, so people aren't going to have to wait to have a beer to sit down at the table. And then you're going to have your kind of standard communal tables lined up in this main dining room. We also have the next space going down the street, which you and I walked through earlier, that's going to be kind of more of a, I'm not going to say sports focus, but it's going to have a little bit more of that kind of flair. Tables I'm envisioning, like, you know, team parties going down there, private parties. We'll be able to close the area off if it's a private party or if it's not, you know, needed at that kind of time. So kind of two different flavors within the same venue.
Well, I gotta tell you, we're excited. I'm very excited for you. I know that you work really hard and that family is really important to you, and that more than anything, El Segundo as a community, having been, you know, born and raised and still here, having developed one business, now developing the other, is really important to you. El Segundo is known for what slogan, and how has that impacted you?
Business friendly, right?
Yep.
So, you know, El Segundo, even starting with the brewery, has been really good. What sets El Segundo apart is the ability to go talk to somebody at the counter and be able to deal with them rather than just dealing with, you know, piles of plan check and stuff. So we've built relationships over the years. We can talk to people, say, hey, is this going to work? You know, we can, like what we did with the brewery, went to the fire department long before we were open and say, hey, what are we missing here? You know,
yeah.
Not trying to seek anything by, but come help us. And being able to have those kinds of relationships goes really a long way. Okay,
so we're 3 to 4 months out. We're gonna have great pizza with attention to detail. We're gonna have health conscious, for lack of a better word, options.
We'll definitely have the greens options for people who...
Right, and then we're gonna have lunch focused for business.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And then we're gonna have team sports potential.
Yes.
And then we're gonna have the support of El Segundo Brewery, right? We're
Absolutely.
gonna have locally sourced options.
Yep.
We're gonna create 20 to 30 jobs. And I know I'm not taking credit for I'm talking about you. And the city has really given you an opportunity and a platform to be able to bring this to life.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you the last question. What feeling do you want people to have once they leave your restaurant after eating here for the first time?
I want them to, again, I want them to leave with a feeling of pride of what's going on in their community, and I want them to feel like they got value for where they're spending their money.
Well, listen, we're so very excited for you. We really appreciate you speaking with us today, and we look forward to seeing where it goes.
Me too.
Awesome.
eGundo.com